We have with us fitness professional Sumaya Dalmia. She has 7 gyms across the country. She is the founder of Sumaya and can be found in Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad and Mumbai. Sumaya, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And everybody wants to know, what was your inspiration when you were young to become a fitness founder?
I think I was one of those kids who just played sport all my life, loved the trickle of sweat. I was always exempt from exams. I think the reason I loved sports so much was I never had to take my exam because I was always so busy playing nationals. And then just going on into college, I just really missed not being able to sweat, and by default stumbled across this profession in 1995, I think, 96.
And you were first a personal trainer?
So the story is very long. I'm going to try and shorten this as much as I can. You know, in my summer of my 12th, Reebok came out with their first advertisement where they said that, course for a group fitness trainer. So I thought it's a place for, there were no gyms, there was nothing at that point. So I thought it was a place to go work out in, and then only when I reached there, I realized that I was actually there to become a trainer for that much time. So I was just there to love the trickle of sweat, and when I reached there, I realized it was actually a workshop to become a trainer, and there was no turning back. Once I was there, I just realized I love training people, I love meeting people, I love whatever little impact I can have on anybody's life as far as health, wellness, fitness is concerned, and that's it, no turning back. And I'm saying that was like in 1995, so add the years. It's almost been, I think, 26, 27 years.
And at which point did you decide to start your own business? What was the inspiration for that? Because fitness was not so hot, Bollywood actresses were not all that fit, the inspiration wasn't there. So what inspired you to start gyms?
It was a journey because once I did St. Stephen's Economics, it was not a mainstream profession to say, oh, I want to become a fitness trainer in 1995, right? So I had to still do the mainstream stuff to convince people that this is also a mainstream profession. So after doing that, I went on and went to do a master's in economics, and it's over there I realized that there was a specialized course for this called Masters in Sports Science. So I did that, but when I came back, I was too overqualified. I was consulting for people who were trying to set up gyms. I worked with Reebok. So basically, I dabbled my hands in anything that was remotely close to health, fitness, wellness. It was only at around like the 2004 mark where I decided I'm going to stop doing stuff for other people and start my own brand, because I actually felt that there is no one size fits all as far as fitness is concerned. And you and I may have the same goals of wanting six-pack abs and being really well, but your way of getting around it and my way would be totally different. So that's what motivated me to start my own brand, which would do bespoke training.
And was it tough, capital, etc., or you had enough savings to go for it, for all the people out there who are trying to start their own business?
I'm a personal trainer at heart and by qualification, but I'm a business owner by default. The fitness industry and the wellness industry have just become mainstream, and it has a very strong ecosystem, I would say, in the last 4 or 5 years. But if you say 15 years ago, there was not an ecosystem. It was a standalone place. Very few people knew that there was something that they could do for themselves in terms of wellness besides going for the odd walk. So it took a little bit of time to kind of create a market for myself, but because I was always a niche business, I think I had my friends like you also back in the day who came and experienced it, and then from there everybody, it just grew and grew and grew and grew, and people just loved the fact that we recognize that there's no one size fits all. So
my favorite part about Sumaya's gyms are that they're so luxe and comfortable that it's like a second home. Anyway, lots of questions. You are a mother. How do you manage motherhood and work? It's cliched. They're like, why don't you ask the men those questions? But
that's true.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit of fine-tuning, but the thing I realized the most after having kids was I have to get over the guilt. So if I'm at work, I have to stop feeling guilty for not being at home. And if I'm at home, I have to stop feeling guilty for not picking up a work call. So wherever I am, I'm 100% there. I will put my phone on silent except my kids are on a speed dial, but barring that, I do not pick up any call when I'm at work. When I'm at home, I don't pick up a work call, and that's the only way to do it, and just be like extreme. My life runs like a timetable. So if anybody tries to disturb it on that given day, it's very stressful. Otherwise, there's no way to do this.
All right, so switch off.
Switch off and be extremely meticulous on a timetable.
How do you motivate your girls?
I don't know if I want to say this on camera because my girls are not motivated by the mother at all. And that's with, I think it's not just with me, it's with just generation, because even though I would feel that they would have an inspiration at home like me, and just to stay well and healthy, it's not that. They're too consumed by the gadgets, and they're too consumed by the iPad, and there's so much external stimuli that children have forgotten how to get out and play. So the only thing I have on my kids is that they need to get up and start moving. So play a sport. I mean, on the flip side, the moment the kids cross 13, 14, boys including girls, earlier we used to think that only girls are very conscious about their weight when they're teens, but now boys, 13-year-old boys are wanting to come into the gym. We have so many kids who are 14, 15-year-olds who are making their bodies. So that way it's good and it's bad. But I think fitness is something that has to come from within. It's just one of those things, wellness, fitness.
But it's a very interesting point you said for all the young people watching. What is the perfect age to start doing weights and working on your abs?
Listen,
you say 13-year-olds come, so what age is
just
great
13,
to lift
14
weights?
Is 13, 14 when you've put on your height, you can totally come. Earlier there used to be this whole myth that if you're overtraining, weight training, you're going to get a stunted height. It's not true. But having said that, you still want to play as much as free sport as you can and do as much as body weight training as you can before you really start lifting. But having said that, if you're playing national level sport, etc., at a young age, you will come and lift weight to train.
Is our generation heading towards obesity, or you don't think so?
Ironically, this is the question I really want to answer. We as a race know so much. Preventive medication, preventive diagnostic testing. We all know that we need to take out and spend 1 hour with our health. We know what foods to eat. Everybody knows what gluten intolerance is. So we know so much. So technically our lifespan should be about 100, 120. But we're actually going backwards because in spite of knowing all of this, we are consumed by smoking, drinking, alcohol, all the processed foods. So we're not being able to really live the lifestyle that our grandparents lived, which was very clean, very organic, very active. Like they would work in a village and a khet and eat the grains and burn it off. We are becoming more and more sedentary, and which is why we need to come to the gym 7 days a week.
But are people becoming more and more obese, you think?
A certain sect is becoming more aware about their health, and you can see a lot of 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds who weren't into health before, foraying into saying, okay, I need to look after myself. But then there are certain people who are just letting go of themselves. So I feel there's a mix.
And there's a certain generation and people who are almost scared of entering the gym. They're like, oh my God, it's just a bit much for us. We might get a heart attack. Any kind of parameters for those scared people they need to keep in mind?
The pandemic has taught us a lot. The pandemic has taught us that you don't need this fancy paraphernalia to work out. You just need your body and a mat, and not even a mat. You'll be amazed at how much your body can do without any external weight. So this is just to, add to your training, but you don't need all of this. So the pandemic has taught us that there's no excuse not to work out. By workout, I mean even exercising, walking, swimming, anything that you can do. 1 hour is not the only designated time that you need. You can even have a good workout for 15 or 20 minutes. So it's teaching you not to make working out an excuse. So if you miss a gym session with your personal trainer today, you can always do a 20-minute body weight HIIT workout at home.
Which is the next question I'm sure a lot of people want to know is, if there's a 15-minute workout for people, what would you recommend they should do?
If you have 15 minutes, then obviously HIIT is the best because you get most bang for your buck. So, but HIIT again, it's not like, oh, you can do HIIT 7 days a week. No. So if it is only 15 minutes that you're taking out in the day, then HIIT is a one-off is great. Otherwise, you on one day, do some lower body work with your own body weight. Come into the gym, do like a tricep. 15 minutes is also great to work out. Like I said, there's no excuse not to move your body on a given day.
Okay. How to differentiate between a health trend and what should one do to not follow blindly? I mean, there's so many health trends out there. How do you make sure you don't follow a trend or follow a trend?
So the first thing is why I started my business is that there is no one size fits all. Whether it's a ketogenic diet, whether it's HIIT, whether it's whether you're a marathon runner, anything that you pick, you need to know whether it's something that works for you. You can't be doing something that actually ages you. Your body can't take that as a stress. the stress response of a body is increased cortisol, increased anxiety. So it actually is counterproductive. So I see so many women, say for example, I'm giving you one example, women in their middle 40s where they're perimenopausal, they're going on and doing these HIIT workouts, which is actually detrimental because your cortisol levels are so high, it plays havoc with the hormones. You know, once in a while you do an HIIT workout, 1 in 5 is great. So you really need to know, you need to visit and, you know, go to a professional, so maybe a personal trainer for 10 sessions or a nutritionist for a one-off, you know, what is a plan that works for you. Don't do intermittent fasting because the whole world is doing it. You know, you have to see whether it works with your gut, whether it works with your sleep, is it stressful for your body. So you really need to know why you're doing what you're doing, and it's for you. Ambika's plan is for Ambika, it cannot be passed on to Sumaya.
Somebody wrote in wanting to know if they can IF when they're pregnant or trying to get pregnant.
I don't think so, because certain times IF, even though it has a lot of therapeutic...
Even when you're trying to get pregnant?
Even because there are a lot of therapeutic benefits of intermittent fasting. But for certain people, which is very a few segment who are not suited for intermittent fasting, it can also play havoc with your system then. When you're pregnant, definitely not, because you need to eat frequent meals to keep your blood sugar balanced. And as it is, we all know during pregnancy, your blood sugars drop at odd times. So that is definitely not the time to do intermittent fasting. Of course, it's a time for you to clean eat, but not intermittent fasting.
Okay. How important is hormonal health in men and women?
It's everything.
And how do you manage that?
It's everything. It's everything even when you're a teenager, and it's everything even when you're 40, and it's everything even when you're 50. Because working out is not what makes you lose weight. Working out makes you build muscle, it improves your strength, it improves your proprioception, your balance, and just aesthetically makes you look better. But all the weight loss happens only in the kitchen. And hormonal health also happens through the kitchen. So even if you're mildly PCOS, you can, of course, you may need medication, but you can get a lot of support by fixing what you're eating from the kitchen. Whether it's no dairy, no gluten, inflammatory foods, cutting down the processed sugars, cutting down the processed foods, all of these things really play havoc with your hormones inside.
Wow. I want to go and work in the kitchen now.
So this is my experience. I've been in the industry now for over 27 years. And I've been a woman, I've been pregnant, I've put on weight, I've lost weight, I've stayed consistent with my weight. But I think the most important and the most consistent thing I've done is been a consistent eater as far as clean eating is concerned. 80-20. I cheat, but more often than not, you will see me not eating out and, you know, call me boring. But
I'm going to follow and be...
Call me boring, but it works.
Sumaya. I think it works,
it
definitely. Is over drinking water a trend? Should people be careful? How can you be mindful while drinking water?
I want to be very careful before I answer this question. Overhydration is a thing, and especially when you're drinking too much water.
How much is too much?
It is very subjective, which is why I don't want to answer this question. It's very subjective, but I can tell you this, that 8 to 10 glasses of water is all that the body needs. Rest of it totally depends on your thirst, your environment that you're in, if you're running outside, you know, all of that.
Your size?
Your size, but still 8 to 12 glasses is good enough. The moment you are overhydrating yourself, you're also actually peeing out all the electrolytes. You're losing all the minerals. So you'll notice people who overhydrate are more prone to muscle cramps, they're more prone to fatigue, because they've lost all the salts from the body by going to the loo all the time. Which is why, in my world, along with drinking water, you should also hydrate yourself, which means you should have a glass of any kind of electrolyte water, anybody, once in the day, because that makes sure that all your minerals, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, all the things that we know now that are important for us, come through electrolyte water.
All right. For all the women in their 40s and 50s who go through menopause, I mean, what kind of a workout or diet? I know it's different depending on person, but this phase, nobody really talks about it. It's like suddenly people land up in their 40s and they're like, there's something called menopause, which doesn't happen one day like Christmas, but it takes years for it to build up. So what kind of prep can everybody do for it?
You know, I'm in that phase. I mean, I'm not perimenopausal yet, but we're like 45, right? So menopause
I'm not 45.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's
menopause is different for everyone, but the only one thing that I know and which has been scientifically proven, balancing your hormones at this point is everything, which means you need to eat clean to balance your hormones. Don't do stuff which is going to throw your hormones out of whack by eating too much processed food, sugars, etc. Working out is another thing. This is the worst time to do HIIT workouts consistently, because for you at that point, your body is constantly taking that as stress. Your cortisol level will be high, and cortisol controls all the other hormones in the body. Having said that, it doesn't mean that you're not working out and you're working out at a heart rate lesser than 100. No, but you're definitely not doing the erratic rhythmic heart rate that we do in an HIIT. So as long as your workouts are steady, stable over 120, you don't have to go to 180 and drop to 120, that's stress. You need to be smart about your workout. Don't over stress your body. And that is different for different people. If you're a beginner, then even a beginner exercise is stress.
True.
For someone like me, maybe a different activity is stressful. So how stressful a workout is also very subjective. So unfortunately, what we're trying to say is that working out and nutrition is very, very, very personal. There is really no one size fits all for anybody as far as that is concerned.
If you had to look after schools, what is the one piece of advice you would say, or something you would execute?
I would teach the sports coaches basic biomechanics for children, because I think all that we do when we are young, and I've done it when we were playing for sport. Coaches at really school level have not studied biomechanics at the depth that they should, and they should know that the formative years of a child are so important vis-a-vis balance, how their feet are, should ground running be important, how they do a sit-up. So the foundation of a child is so important, which is what prevents bad posture and bad habits as far as exercise is concerned later on in life. So it's really important. I would totally work on the sports coaches in schools.
Sumaya, you've been in the world of fitness for close to 30 years now, rounding it off. What word of advice do you have for everybody?
The word of advice is that there's no magic pill. There's not that one diet or that one supplement or that one treatment that can magically and miraculously make you slim or healthy or fit. It has to be a complete lifestyle switch, and by lifestyle switch I don't mean it needs to be 100% all in. As long as it's 80% your lifestyle is turned around and 20% room for cheating. Consistency is key. You can't be on and off a diet, so you need to find that one particular thing that works with you and stays with you. Don't run after a weight which is not achievable. Health is wealth, so yo-yoing is worse, so do not yo-yo. Try and stay stable, especially for a woman. Continuous yo-yoing is the worst thing they can do for their hormones. And please rely on clean eating to solve half the problems vis-a-vis health, wellness, weight loss, skin, hair. Everything's in the kitchen.
Everything is in the kitchen. Maybe one should do a course in nutrition.
I think it's really great. I think everybody should do it.
That's my New Year plan. Thank you everybody for watching.